to be here. Pleasure to see you guys. First of all, I'm honored to host this panel, and thank you for having me here. So our panel discussion is called Nurturing Sustainability in Emerging Technologies. Such a fancy thing, but I promise you it's more interesting than it sounds. But first, before digging deep into the main things that we are going to discuss, please welcome our speakers, our panelists. Natalya Suvorova, Senior Director, Human Resources and Co-Director in Women in Big Data. Hello, Natalya. Please have a seat. Yes. Zara Ohanyan, Associate Women in Business Program Coordinator at EBRD. Liana Gevorgyan, TPM Group Principal at Block. It's more interesting than it sounds, guys. They're doing machine learning stuff. And Petya Kamburova, Global Business Development and Partnership Lead and Viber. Hey there. So, let me take my seat. Everyone has microphones? Nope. There we go. Whew. Ladies, hello. So, before we start to dig in deep into the questions that I prepared for you, and we've already discussed some of them, I want to introduce the audience what actually nurturing sustainability in emerging technology means. First of all, what is sustainability? Nurturing sustainability means, guys. And the second one, what are these emerging technologies that we need to talk about today? So, nurturing sustainability in emerging technologies refers to process fostering and encouraging the development. Basically, it means that by using policies, regulations, educating and making the awareness of the technologies, we are making it more sustainable for the countries, for the environment, making it more environment friendly. We are doing the partnerships between governments, businesses, and non-profit organizations to spread the technology from all over the world. And when it comes to the emerging technologies, I hope ladies will agree with me. For today, we have a couple of them that are very, very popular. First one is the AI, because everyone started to fear about their job. Second one is blockchain technologies, quantum computing, AR, VR, XR, all gaming stuff. And before the Web3, of course, the Web3 industry, right? Because the NFTs, cryptos are so hyped right now. Everyone is talking about them. Everyone is talking about the decentralizations. But nobody knows that actually the decentralization starts back to the 1916s because of that hype when internet comes. They did it because they want to have that freedom to make the connections between all over the world and make it more decentralized. So now we are seeing the seeds that they did back in 20th century. So before we start the main topics, I want you ladies to introduce yourself, introduce your sphere and what are you doing, and if it's possible, a short brief about your companies. Natalya, please.
Okay, so I'm a Human Resources Director, and my input would be about human resources, workforce, and how we in our modern environment support sustainability and development of new technologies. I've been in HR for almost 20 years in IT, and I work for Line Technology. We had Emma Patke today, who was a presenter, speaker, and our company is doing Invisalign product, invisible aligners, to move your teeth.
Great.
Lots of technology.
Sure, indeed.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. So I'm Zara Ohanyan. I'm coordinating the Women in Business program at EBRD. I'm sure most of you have heard about the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. It's been operating in Armenia since 1991, and we have a number of policy dialogue programs, and we mostly cooperate in private sector with SMEs. We provide finance and advisory.
Whoa. So basically you're helping the new beginners to enter the industry, and it doesn't matter which industry it is.
Yes. Thank you.
Liana?
Hey everyone, my name is Liana Gevorgyan. I am a principal group TPM, leading currently technical programs for machine learning and data science for Cash App, and a bit more about Cash Up. I don't know if you heard about Block. It's Jack Dorsey's company. It's have been known with the kind of name of Square, but we rebranded 2 years ago, and now we have 5 different business units. Cash Up is actually mobile payment system. Has 49 million customers already and growing rapidly. It's also a transfer and some way of investing through your mobile application.
Wow. Petya?
Hi everybody. So I work for a messaging platform called Rakuten and Viber. I'm sure that most of you are most probably familiar with it. It's the purple, super cool messaging texting app, right? I've been with the company for 8 years now. It's 12 years old company, so as you can see, I was there for quite a bit. I'm currently leading global growth, partnerships, strategy, and innovation, which is quite a few things that I'm involved in, but essentially it all leads to growth of the company and making it stronger and more profitable.
Nice, interesting. We had a lot of different aspects for today, right? Whew, it will be tough. So, Natalya, my first question is for you. As a human resources, what role does remote work play in fostering sustainability, and how do you manage and build remote teams effectively? Because right now we can see that, especially in IT industry, and especially developers, because I'm a developer, I'm speaking for myself first, working remotely is, well, basically is most interesting and most painful part. So I would love to hear your opinion about this.
Oof, so this topic, like I can talk for hours about this particular topic, because right now, like after the pandemic world, we still don't know if it's good or bad to be working remotely. Once the pandemic started, everyone was, oh, you know, like we can do this. And now we are observing lots of Silicon Valley companies bringing people back to the office because offices are empty, so they need to bring people, and for different reasons. So there aren't many researches. And I, as a human resources professional, still have not made my opinion about this topic. So like on the one hand, it's good, like it provides flexibility to the workforce. We can get we have access to different talents in different parts of the world, but on the other hand, and people do not travel, they do not commute, we save on gas, on CO2 emission, like everything is good. But on the other hand, I'm observing when you're stuck at home in your pajamas, not washed hair, we are observing as a human resources director, it's true, it's about me actually, well, yeah. I'm talking about myself. So actually, I'm seeing, observing all cycles of depression, for example, and understand that we are social human beings, we are social animals. We need to be in the office to be a part of the community, and also when you're at home, your personal life gets washed out. You do not see any borderline between your work life and your personal life. I used to work 24/7 because you just don't know, like you're getting back in your pajamas in bed, still working. You wake up, you check up your phone, and you just like, is it true?
Yep.
Are you doing the same?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and it's good to put some borderline between your personal life, your work life, and just life. So we also need to be in the office to have social glue, to be talking to each other, to support each other, to have our support group. So like really we still do not have an opinion about this. It looks like it's good to have, like now the companies are doing hybrid office, like you are in the office 3 days a week. But also some people are very, like they're confronting this idea. So we're just observing, and I guess at this particular time, it's amazing that there is an opportunity and employers are open to providing remote jobs, especially like to rural regions, to regional locations. It's good that more people have an opportunity to work remotely, but we should be looking at this more not so enthusiastically, but very wisely, where it makes sense to be in the office and work like from the office, be among people. And what does it mean for the employers who feel remote, single by themselves without being a part of the bigger team, but still with a job? So I guess this topic will be on our agenda for a couple of more years until we discover what it means. So that's kind of from human resources perspective.
So there is no workaround for that?
Sorry?
There is no workaround for this situation? From your
Workaround,
opinion?
I guess just applying common sense. Like for example, okay, we have people, like we work for land technology and we relocated lots of people, and some people could find their apartments in Yerevan, some people on the outskirts in Gyumri and other locations, and we had to live with that because of the price situation with housing here. Sorry, we are sorry for that. I guess I wouldn't be, like as a HR director, I wouldn't be pushing people to be in the office by law, like, hey, you must be here or I will terminate you. It's not a conversation, it's a toxic conversation. I don't love it. I would love to make it just as a workaround solution, to organize events, for example, hackathon, meetup in the office, so people would have a reason to be in the office, because I can be in the office, shut in a conference room without seeing anyone, like for a full day, and come home like just nicely dressed, and that's the only difference between me working from home and working from the office. So I guess we just should be organizing more. If you're in the office, it should be meaningful. Why you came? You came for human touch, for conversations, for meetings, etc. So let's do this. And another, like in any other time, we just be working from home, remotely. So that's, I think, a workaround solution. And utilizing telepresence more. I don't know, like all those modern things like VR, augmented reality, whatever you can. So like simulations, if your work allows, so you could have more sense of being present, like Zoom meeting or whatever. It's like have presence, feeling of presence in the same room. But I guess that's it. Does it make sense? Am I crazy?
Well, yeah, actually. But as a developer, for me, it's a real pain, because despite what we've discussed yet, a lot of companies still pushing that Zoom meetings, strict Zoom meetings, couple of hours.
Yes.
You're doing the same thing over and over, day by day, but the result is like you will never feel that you are the part of the community, because at some point you just feel that, okay, that's another meeting, I will open it, I will join it, I will switch off my video and going to drink a coffee or eat something or watch a movie, and that's it.
Exactly. So that's what everyone experienced like during the past 2 years.
Yeah. Well, sad, but it's true. We don't have any solutions for this. Zara, my question for you, as an associate and coordinator in EBRD, can you share with us what are some strategies that EBRD employs to ensure women have equal access to the business and finances, first of all? And regarding the technologies, like the emerging technologies that we just talked, how can you emerging in tech like blockchain, AI, machine learning, and all this stuff to be harnessed and promote women in business and in finance?
Thank you for the question. So when we speak about sustainability at EBRD, we mostly concentrate on environmental and social issues. Unfortunately, not on tech component that much yet, because it's still a multinational institution and we cooperate currently in 36 countries with diverse economic, social environments. When we talk about women involvement, gender equality has always been a core part and is very close to EBRD's mandate as a whole. That's why back in 2014, a dedicated program, a Women in Business program, was launched in Eastern Partnership countries, including Armenia, where the program combines two components, main components that we think are crucial for any single business. It's finance and advice, access to local and international advisory. And in this dedicated Women in Business program, we have combined both components. So on one hand, on finance component, we work with local banks, with partner financial institutions, where we provide them dedicated credit lines, specifically for women-led businesses, and then they co-finance the small and medium enterprises, female-led enterprises. And on the advisory component, we work directly with the businesses. We co-finance all types of advisory projects, being it local or international, in all business spheres, be it marketing, strategy, energy efficiency, environmental management, quality assurance, anything. And what refers to the sustainability and blockchain, recently we also integrated a blockchain AI as part of our ICT components. Previously, we worked with basic automation like ICT solutions, ADNS, Bitrix, all types of local 1C solutions. But recently we have been approached by a couple of companies and we're currently working on that. Unfortunately, these are consultants yet, not the beneficiaries. The consultants are offering this service. We hope that by raising awareness, we will get to the point where the beneficiaries will approach us with the request to co-finance a blockchain IA or more sophisticated tech projects for them.
So do I understand you correctly that EBRD now has a program for the blockchain startups or the companies that want to enter the sphere and need some kind of investments? Yes.
At EBRD, we have a dedicated Star Venture program, which is specifically for startups, and we have it across all of our countries. And there was a call last year for Eastern Partnership countries, and 2 startups from Armenia won, because this is a competition where we provide both finance and technical assistance to these companies throughout 2 years. The cohort is for 2 years, and we have now 2 winners, and we provide them with all types of advisory, obviously, but we also co-finance their participation in international summits like Innovex in Taipei. So this is a dedicated program for startups. And for the blockchain, as I said, we have this advisory, co-finance advisory service that we do through local advisors. It's a donor-funded program, and we co-finance up to 50% of the project cost for the beneficiaries. And now this also has blockchain and IA component.
So basically, EBRD is like an easy access to the investments that you need for your startup, if your project actually worth it. Of course, we have our minimum eligibility criteria, but if you correspond, we co-finance up to 50% of the project. Can you mention some of the criteria for the audience, for the ones who already has some ideas and want to come to pitch?
And the criteria are for any type of businesses. So basically, if you register and operate in Armenia for more than 2 years now, you have 10 employees and a minimum tax turnover of €1,000 for the last tax year, then you, and of course there are prohibited areas that EBRD as an international organization cannot work with. You can apply, we will review, and based on the availability of financing for that year, we will discuss any type of projects that we can do together, be it blockchain or any other, starting from basic marketing, website, mobile application development, business automation, and completing with this more comprehensive IT tech.
I'll see you next year.
Welcome.
Liana, so Block is doing the machine learning stuff.
I think so.
Okay, so how machine learning can contribute to sustainability goals, if it makes sense?
So, yeah, this is such a big question. It's not about a Block, but most of the big tech is investing on machine learning to promote sustainability, and not only reliability, adaptability, continuation. And yes, I wanted really to bring several examples on how probably each of you experienced in industry one way or another, or even without knowing about that, how it make the change for you. And there is a second part that I'll get back a little bit next, and this is still very important on not only what, but how part. So for examples perspective, like I want to bring, first of all, ML, DS is an engine that can promote sustainability. One example, it's Amazon. I'm sure many of you heard or experienced shopping through Amazon and returning for many cases. So AI actually helping to improve inventory management by learning the behaviors that you like and providing recommendations that you'll be more happy with your purchases. And it's also going to be a happy experience, and from process and spend-wise, more efficient way, because you're going to save packaging, delivery, and a lot of other costs. Some other example is in the mechanical fields, like as you know, the automated driving cars are growing now. and maintenance prediction is a big deal. So Tesla have been rock starring in other way, and guess probably they use machine learning too.
Well, of course they're using the machine learning.
So this is another way. When you get the behaviors, patterns, and when things are getting broke, you know the seconds and behaviors that you can prevent early on until it's a disaster or crash. The other area going to be even our own interlinear predicting and agriculture changes and recovery models, right? And this is big saver for the community and people who invest in the area. So this is really huge. And financial investing also, a lot of ML, a lot of hedge funds are really bread and butter and power and engine to come up with the models that they can invest. But the way also how you do this, happy teams and engineers that I care the most, because I consider myself as a transformation engineer. I'll bring an example of calendar management. If you heard about a Calendly,
yes.
that's going to be, as you're chatting about that. So how you make your meetings really efficient, and how actually technology can contribute by learning like developers' experience like yourself, and actually improving, having more blocks of productive working and meetings that's really valuable rather than checkpoints. So this is my view on both ways of happy teams who deliver the product and the ways they provide and they make the products empowered with ML that's actually going to invest and improve sustainability for a long time.
Ah, I see. By the way, while we're talking about this question about the machine learning, I came up a question, and I really need your honest opinion about it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the ChatGPT? Because everyone knows that under the hood of every AI which serves publicly is the machine learning and the big data that they are just using it to give you some kind of answers and prompts and stuff like this.
So I'll share my personal opinion, and every person can have their own.
Sure.
I feel it's an interesting prospect, very powerful. Some people have fear about positive, like pros and cons about it. It cannot be perfect as anything that's a game changer, but we are there to help to learn, to improve, and each of us have to invest. I am on the type of the personality that I didn't always share just my idea, commenting, I act. If I didn't like, I invest, I fix, and I expect each and anyone to do it that way. We all have a stake in this game, even the way part of the data, I don't know, empowering the ChatGPT, maybe some of our inputs, and how to make it in a way that we're happy with the results, how we can get the technology that grows, and maybe we need to be more creative and grow. That's some booster for us to get to the next level thinking, and yeah, I'm positive in that, despite whatever different opinions going to be there, but if we invest ourselves, we're going to get the value, and I don't know, maybe still we'll get to the next ChatGPT even better. I don't know when.
Well, if they release it, because now they're trying to ban ChatGPT 5.
It's different. It's again very personal, as I say. It should have probably some controls, limitations. It's not like whatever, everything. I believe some controls, some values need to be obtained as for each company. Like trust is important. You cannot just use for your benefit technology and just get rich. I feel trust, I don't know, respecting the people, security, those are big things. In case they're, I don't know, affected, some measures have to be set to limit those abilities, so I'm for that. But beyond that, technology creativity, I truly support in any area that it's moving, and I don't know, interesting learning challenge, and I like challenges.
Thank you for your honest opinion. Petya, business development, oh my goodness. How do you foster business growth through innovation while considering the sustainability? This is the first part of the question, because when it comes to the business development, actually you're the ones who touch all kind of industries. You are the ones who speak with everyone. Machine learning are doing great job. someone investing on the machine learning industry, someone hires stuff for the machine industry, someone is working for that machine learning, but you are the ones who's selling it actually. So the first part of the question, how to foster business growth through innovation while considering the sustainability, because we're talking about the emerging technology. And the second one, I would love to hear some examples of partnerships you've made that resulted in both business growth and increased the sustainability.
Okay, a bit to unwrap here. So first, I guess we need to start with defining what growth means for each and every company or team. I'll give an example for Rakuten and Viber. For us, growth is either A, scale of users, so the number of users, growth in that regard, or B, engagement of these users, right? So that's number of messages, frequency of texting, calling, and all of that. So keeping in mind these two growth factors, or kind of what for us success basically is, we need to keep in mind how to grow sustainably. In terms of like what we are also as a company, which is a platform that reaches to people without any boundaries, almost all over the world, with our top markets being CE, CIS, APAC, and MENA, you can imagine that especially in these markets, which are not the Western markets in the States, there is definitely a need for more understanding of the topic of sustainability and more conversation starters, let alone actions as well, right? So in that regard, what we do, what we kind of see as our opportunity, but also I think it's our mission and like our obligation really, is to make sure that we can utilize our growth factors, which were scale and engagement, for sustainability messages. And then how would we do that? Obviously, as much as I'm into sustainability myself and a volunteer of many organizations, I'm not a pro by any means, right? And nor is anybody else in the company. So what we do is that we harness the power of those messages through partnerships. And that goes towards your second question. So we've teamed up, let's say, with WWF. I'm going to speak about that as an avid animal lover. They actually also deal with nature, so it's not only the animal side, by the way. Anyway, so they're an amazing organization. They're present more or less all over the world. They do have different activities. So what happened with them in 2019, we teamed up around their concept for doubling the tigers in the wild. And I don't know if you guys are familiar, but tigers, unfortunately, as beautiful and amazing they are, actually they are quite endangered and there are not too many in the wild. So WWF had a very cool concept, working with all the governments globally in markets where tigers exist or where they live. So that's APAC mainly, and Russia and the region of CIS. So what happened is that they decided to double the tigers from 2010 to 2022 in 12 years. So we helped them with that, and we got that message across. How we did that? By featuring our features, essentially, and using our products to get that message across to our audiences. Maybe you're wondering how that actually worked. It wasn't like a simple, promo or just branding opportunity. It was actually quite a cool integration with their services, our services, and even something else that we developed together for it. So on Viber, any brand can have presence like channels, chatbots, stickers, branded lenses with augmented reality, emojis, and stuff like that. So we developed a beautiful sticker pack based on tigers' habitat and their nature. Then we developed a chatbot, which is an interface for communication, one-to-one, user to the app, and that chatbot featured information about the species in a way that it was quite gamified, so you can either win prizes, compete with friends, collect points. So it was quite light-hearted in a way, but equally really getting the message out there. And then once you complete the quiz, people are also prompted to follow a page, very cool user experience, very sleek. Within a few seconds, you basically go to donations, and within a click, you can support the organization in doubling wild tigers in those markets. So that campaign actually is an award-winning campaign. I was very happy about that, because when I initially brought the concept to Viber, it wasn't necessarily accepted as a campaign that might be successful for any of the parties as such. But actually it turned out to be not only award-winning, which is more on the PR side, but actually it really made a change. It made waves. The total result of the campaign was that 10 million unique users got involved in one way or the other. 2 million unique users got subscribed to the chatbot. It was in different languages, so this is all over a few markets. And we also saw around 30 million messages sent back and from the bot to and from the users on the topic of tigers. And we also managed to get over 20K donations within a few months, which was a first for both parties to try on a messaging platform.
Oh, I see. And I have an extra question for you. I know that yesterday you were talking about the Metaverse and Web3 technologies, right? So if it's not under NDA, I would love to hear how Viber is trying to nurturing the sustainability in Web3 and Metaverse technologies. What are you doing there? What are you planning to do? Because one way or another, this is the technology that everyone should somehow implement it to be able to be competent enough for the others.
Okay, so I'm gonna start by calling you out massively because you didn't, join my talk yesterday. Otherwise, that question would have been answered already.
Sorry.
It's okay, I can send you the video. But jokes aside, first of all, unwrapping what the metaverse is, and that's exactly what I started doing yesterday, because I quite like boiling things down to simple concepts. Metaverse is cyberspace. 90% of the time you can substitute that word. So essentially, us being on Google, being on Facebook, being on Viber, or just ordering food, or a lavash, which is another example I gave yesterday. That's all examples from the metaverse, right? So in terms of what Viber plans to do in terms of AI and the digital platform that it is, AI really changes communication, and I'm going to speak from the perspective of communication, and that's
Sure
kind
thing,
of our platform, right? So AI really changes that because it kind of unlocked the way not only humans understand language these days, verbal, non-verbal, faces and sound, but also AI can do this now. Maybe you heard about this example from March when ChatGPT managed to solve a CAPTCHA, which is what, of course, a human only was supposed to be able to do. So I think that's enough of an example that they can basically hold the key for our communication. Deep fakes, all of that, right? So it's very important to both harness the opportunity that this new technology gives us, but also keep in mind the threats. And I would say that sustainability kind of connects with both, but maybe a little bit more on the threats part. So what we can see on messaging platforms would be things like AI detectors, similar to the 90s, of all of us who remember that when we were kids, 90s antivirus services and platforms, like the same thing would be, oh, this is an AI, this is a human, this is like something that we have not defined yet. In that same way, we can maybe also have anti-spam and anti-scam policies. So in the same way that the technology can see the semantics of the conversation, they can also confirm if there is some, scamming kind of activities about to go on with that conversation. Stuff like mood detectors, for example. Basically, if you want to work with Tanya over there and make her invest in your startup, well, basically, you can see if she's in a good mood when you text her, so maybe you slow that down up until she's in a good mood, And kind of like stuff like that are both important to be kept in mind. And then the next level would be how to optimize these experiences also in the sense of sustainability. Sustainability is also a big concept, a very big word. It could be in the sense of sustainability of the business or nature sustainability, and so on. So I guess all of that could be used in different kind of topics, and the back end, the technology powering it is actually quite similar. If that makes any sense?
Yeah,
Good.
much more. Thank you. And sorry for not being able to join your speak.
I'll hold you accountable a few more times and then we can be friends.
All right. So, ladies introduce themselves, but me not. I owe you an introduction now. So, I'm working as a software engineer about a decade. Started with web application development, then went to the blockchain development, including the backend, frontend, JavaScript, Solidity, NFTs, of course. Started from the Bored Ape hype. I jumped into that hype train and started to work on that industry also. And on the same time, it's not about that today, but a small introduction. We're organizing an event, educational events for the IT community in Armenia, basically promoting programming languages, special programming languages, and our goal is to create an elite group for whom introducers can follow, learn, and have an example, a role model to become one. So yeah, that's about it. Regarding the emerging technologies in engineering field, well, I can say that now we have a couple of good examples of emerging technologies that we faced, and everyone, basically machine learning companies are using much. It's Rust programming language, one of the biggest ones. Of course, the C it's an old one, but yet, when it comes to the NFT field, for the crypto field, you can see the ordinals. It's a new Bitcoin NFTs. We're hyping the industry so much. and it's an emerging one because we as a developers, we need to find a way to nurture that sustainability. And when it comes to the nurturing, it means for the developers to just learn the new language, learn, improve your skills, learn a new language, improve your skills, improve your communication skills, of course, because if you want to find a job and you're not a senior developer, I'm sure Natalya will agree with me that the communication is one of the first things that actually companies are looking for. It's not about skills, it's about how people can communicate with other teammates, right? Yeah, you agree with it, thank you. So I'm not the only one who thinks that way. And my question to Natalya, because when we start speaking, I said that a lot of people, especially in Armenia, I'm talking about Armenia, I don't know for the world, for the rest of the world, are afraid to lose their job because of the AI. So, and you were like, I don't think so. I would love to hear your opinion regarding this. Is that true? Because me personally, considering the AI, especially the ChatGPT, as my junior provider helper who is doing basically all the lazy stuff that I don't want to do, or the boring things.
Yeah, I said no. Okay, some jobs, well, some people may lose their jobs, and they may lose their current jobs, but it doesn't mean they won't be employed. Because if you think about different industrial revolutions which we used to have, like if I'm not mistaken, there was a steam machine, shuttle, which was making
Yes.
like making clothes. So, and people thought they would be losing their jobs, and they did lose. But there was a migration of population from villages to big locations to cities, and the nature of work did change. So then there was another revolution, of course, internet and all this computer things changed the world extremely, and I would say unemployment rate is much lower than it used to be 50 years ago, 100 years ago, so there will be jobs. They will be just different. Could you imagine that there would be dog groomers? Like there is such a profession, or more and more babysitters, or like yesterday there was a stand with home assistant, like you just have an assistant who would be doing all your chores and will save you time. So like, could you imagine such a job before? So there will be new jobs. So you will be just, it will be just different job, but you will be employed. Maybe you won't like it, but you will be employed.
Sad. Yeah, Liana?
I would like to add kind of on this topic because it's very dear to me. This topic became very popular. Everyone talking about ChatGPT, AI. Oh, this is changing world. Like, I will suggest like look back 10 years, 20 years. We all worked through different transformation eras. Like we used to, I don't know, like I'm in industry 20 plus years, so I believe in an era when there are diskettes. They moved to CDs, then they moved to USB flashes, then we moved to cloud. Does the CD producers lose the job? Sorry for that, yes, but because like things change. So, but we're comfortable with that changes. So my point is really this is a mindset change, openness, and really partnership. It's not about thinking about the good or bad. This is like, each evolution is helping us to grow. Each evolution trying to help us to be open-minded, more creative, and adaptable because, as mentioned, this is gonna change some ways, some existing jobs, but it's gonna create new. But I really want to encourage being open, and yeah, being open to learn as well, not only accepting the technology and industry, because it's all learning. I do learn every day. At the day I'll stop learning, I will lose my job, whatever. It doesn't matter what I do, and it applies to any of us. So if it's promote learning, go with that, and not to complain, just learn.
And when it comes to learn new stuff, because you lost your job because of the AI, because ChatGPT is doing all jobs for instead of junior developers, for example, what would you suggest for those people who are really afraid to lose their jobs, first of all, and what they need to do when it comes to the applying the technology, like embracing it, let's say it this way?
Can you hear me now? Okay. the battery was changed. I would say that it's the advice which I give to every professional, not to get too comfortable. Always get out of your comfort zone and learn. Always be curious. Always be on the edge of the technology. Just look for new things, try new things. Otherwise, you will get stuck in your current profession and you will just become obsolete. So just my advice, like generic advice, would be never stop learning, be curious, and get out of comfort zone. If we talk about particular advice to you, I could be a mentor and we could be talking about like career consulting. Yeah.
Well, I was learning too much stuff to be unemployed, actually. So, and while we're discussing, there is, you mentioned about the partnerships, right? So how can cross-industry collaborations actually enhance the sustainability efforts in the context of emerging technologies? And this is a question for all of you. I would love to hear for all opinions. Natalya, you can start.
Partnerships.
Yes.
Okay, so like I will be talking about Armenia. We are in this country for our second year, and we would love to have all kind of industrial partnerships. I'm talking about knowledge sharing, meetups, like people, everything. So second of all, of course, in technology partnership, for example, even getting a laptop to Armenia takes long. For us, it's a disaster. I'm talking about this kind of partnership, like real down-to-earth partnership. Working with the ministry, government, it's important for us because the laws were paid for the locals, and since we have so many relocated people and the landscape has changed, we need that kind of partnership. And of course, just like anything, we are looking for local servers, cloud, and so on, since everything was in Russia. Like there are so many opportunities, we just need to start talking to each other and trust each other.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Zara?
Yes, I would compliment on that we work closely with a number of industries in terms of end users, our beneficiaries, the SMEs, but also we work closely with the consultancy industry, because we started with training, first of all, the consultants in the market, and then doing these co-financed grants through their implemented projects. And for the sustainability in particular, we started with doing, first of all, trainings for the industry experts, but then last year we had this new innovative initiative which turned out indeed very successful. We started training the consultants not in energy efficiency, environmental spheres. For example, marketing consultants, strategy, HR consultants. We did a green transformation in advisory projects training for them, like a TOT, in order for them to bring their consciousness for the sustainability as a whole and to train their SMEs. For example, now we can do projects in strategy, for example, a business plan, feasibility plan, but they will include this green component. And we foster that by providing additional 10% cap grant for green tracked projects.
Nice. Liana?
Yeah, my point is going to be, it's very relevant, actually. I was in Sevan Startup Summit 2 days ago and meeting with a lot of startups, and one point came up very practical. Everyone, or most of them are innovated in an idea, product they want to build. They want to get fast to the market, but not everyone thinks about partnerships, integrations, and even they want to get fast in the market, they'll kind of build the solutions, and then when it's successful, they want to scale, they can't. This is a big problem because they didn't think about integration. They didn't do a research to understand their competitors and also supporters or the tools they're going to use, because all the smart people, they cannot be very smart in silo. They need a partnership. They need to raise awareness to understand what else up in the market, what's change they're bringing, and how to build to integrate. Like there are tools that you cannot be successful, even project management, program management that I'm using, you may need to use something when you're scaling. Like you can know what doing in 20 people company if you're a boss. When you become successful and it grows to thousands, like no way you can control or remember or know this without any tools and available, I don't know, techniques. The same for cloud, the same for infrastructure, data visualization, and many, many ones. And even the other startups, what they do and how they do. So having this in mind, planning, partnering, not competing always. Competition also good, but partnership as well. They're both supporting the growth and supporting success in a sustainable way. So I'll advise anyone to think about that. If you missed some research, go back and do that.
Great.
Absolutely love that, by the way. I was just about to say a very similar thing in terms of competition and collaboration. I have a feeling that oftentimes people think of a partnership as something that, needs to bring, or companies, think in that way that it needs to bring a little bit more, for one of the parties, which I absolutely disagree with. I really believe that they need to be, as cheesy as it sounds, win, 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 So something exciting built for the end users, something that is going to be brought to the one partner and to the other partner as well. And yeah, in terms of competition versus collaboration, it's obviously a very old technology now, but I just wanted to give an example with telecom companies and messaging platforms. If you start to think of it from this competition mindset, right, and this kind of like, I call it small mind, small energy mind. Anyway, so if you start from that perspective, you would of course think that they are the top competitors out there, right? Because they are basically offering free calls and the other one is offering paid calls and 3G and so on. So basically what happens is that the messaging platforms were here to stay once they entered our world and our everyday lives. And telecom started to realize that. And you cannot even imagine like around 10 years ago, like 9 years ago, when we first were looking into working with telecoms, some of them are quite hostile. And now they're all very happy to work with us. There is a thing called zero rating, if you're familiar with that, which is, when telecoms offer WhatsApp for free and Instagram and Viber and so on. So that's just like one simple old example of that, but I think that we can basically take this into any other industry as such. So speaking of AI and messaging, for example, I had a very, very interesting chat with the director of NVIDIA, who was here yesterday as well. You most probably missed his talk as well, but that's okay.
Yeah, but I know him personally, so no worries.
Okay, don't flex here on the stage. So basically the idea is that so our chat with him was about exactly the same thing. He was saying that by integrating AI on messaging platforms, we're essentially making messaging platforms a commodity, and then we politely agree to disagree on this topic because I believe that it's quite the opposite. It really empowers first the AI companies like ChatGPT, Inflection AI, which is my favorite thing. I'll speak about in a minute. But it really empowers them to be able to reach out to more users in their native environment. And what more natural way to embed messaging with or texting and communicating with a virtual assistant as such or a chatbot besides a messaging platform? I mean, it's a no-brainer in my opinion. And they see that, right? We also have a few partnerships with AI platforms. One of them is Cookie AI. I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's a digital persona influencer. She's quite cool, quite sassy. If you're there to try her, but she might be a bit sassy, let's say. Anyway, so we teamed up with these companies and they start to learn how people interact in nature environments much more than the early adopters, the very kind of techie people who decided to download their platforms or apps and websites and so on. So in terms of partnerships, again, collaboration versus competition, trying to be very smart, to come always from this, as cheesy as it is, as I said, win-win-win model, because there is always something to learn, something to teach as well, and something to gain in the end.
And what about the Inflective AI?
Inflection AI.
Inflection AI.
Inflection AI. So they're the newest player out there. I believe they're around 10 or 11 months old.
All right.
And it's quite interesting because they got already a few billion of investment a month ago or so. Yeah, just petty money, pocket money really. So what they're doing is that they launched their virtual assistant. It's a little bit different than ChatGPT because they're a bit more kind of into this virtual assistant, personal experience type of an approach, because ChatGPT is not really having a persona, it's not necessarily extremely polite, it's just kind of, doing the job really, especially ChatGPT 3.5, right, Turbo, not the 4.1 and then the expected
Agreed.
5. So essentially, Inflection is a bit different in that regard, and I personally love it. Most probably, it's, I've been living in Britain for a long time now, maybe I just like people being polite, I don't know, but I really love Inflection AI, and I also see the potential in it becoming my, kind of best buddy out there, and doing my boring activities every day, right? But there is one thing that I have a little bit of a beef with him. Well, it's called Pi, the character of inflection. So I've asked him to send me create an email for me to complain, because I had to complain from a product that I bought, and I really didn't have the time to, send this passive-aggressive email that, you need to send to support. And it kept on lying to me. It never sent me that email. And it constantly is telling me that, yes, of course, Petya, yeah, how are you today? Lovely to see you back. Yeah, your email is coming your way. Guys, it never came. It's been 2 weeks now. I just gave up. I just bought a new product. Oh. But yeah, so there is some limitations, but I think that we need to be kind towards that because it's learning quite a lot, right? And I'm expecting it to send that email maybe in a month or so. Who knows?
But when you're speaking about the pocket money, it's about a couple of $100,000 or it's a couple of $100 million?
It got a few billion investment.
Million with
billion
B?
dollars from the likes of Bill Gates, Microsoft, and so on. I'm surprised we have not heard of it. Maybe you missed that one.
Yeah, could be. Could be.
Yeah, so we call million with B.
Uh-huh. Okay. Always talk about the billions, right? Yeah. Good strategy, I guess.
So good, at least the women are listening to me here. Yeah.
Okay, so we have only a couple of minutes left, unfortunately, because I prepared about 40 questions for these absolutely stunning ladies here, but unfortunately I can't ask all of them. Do we have any questions from the audience? If yes, just raise your hand, and volunteers will bring a microphone for you. Whoa. Is it a good sign or a bad sign? Yeah, everything is clear. That's a good sign, actually. All right, thank you for joining me today. You were absolutely shining. Oh, okay. Can we have a microphone there?
Thank you. I didn't want to say this because this is kind of a stupid question,
Oh, there is no stupid questions. Go ahead.
Not that important, but since no one's taking the time, I'll do. We're talking about working from home and not going to the office and really staying at home in the pajamas all the time, not really showering and stuff. And what I was thinking is, yes, but that was in the times of the pandemic, and home is really all we had, but now we can do our work from home and then use the rest of the time to go out, and that go out time wasn't really there during the pandemic. What do you think about this? Because I really like working with people, but there are also some people who like to be alone better and work from home, and they're more comfortable with that. So what do you think about that?
I can take because I work for a company that actually have fully remote positions. I know after pandemic started to get back after it's over, if I'll say it this way. A lot of companies, especially in the financial industry, like I live in New York, and a lot of companies that I'm familiar in New York and financial ones started like, let's get everyone back. So they rushed and everyone get a second round of COVID. But still, I personally love real interaction. I enjoy it. But I also love my hybrid work that I can stay home and, I don't know, plan my personal activities in a balance with the other activities. On the other side of this, I work with about 4 and 5 different time zones. So sometimes it's going to get challenging if I didn't have that flexibility, like 8 hours at the work. A lot of things going to get asynchronous. So that will give me a chance to balance that. So it's personal behaviors. I am, like, my personal opinion is really hybrid because I do enjoy meeting people. I enjoy having all of you here. And real connections are different. But respecting people's choices, sometimes they can be related to some activities or lifestyle. And even our injured folks who have a kind of, I don't know, movement issues, like our soldiers, they can get remote work that's accessible to them, will enable that. So my point is really that you can make it work from hybrid setup. Some people feel one way or another. No. There are the ways, adjustment and changes that we have to play to make this work. And I'll say, on the opposite side, I've seen a lot of people who have a hard time going back to work like 5 days. It's another challenge, equally the same, that we have to say 5-day home right away when we're not prepared. So it's a transition both ways, but the hybrid, I'll suggest, I don't know, my personal choice is going to be to go.
Thank you.
Yes, I would say that it's okay to be remote and wash your hair and go out, socialize elsewhere. For me, there is an issue that that isolated person would be isolated and won't be part of the community. Just imagine everyone is in the office and one person is somewhere else. So that person will always be left out. And this person would be isolated and won't feel as a part of the team. And gradually performance would deteriorate, or that person would leave for another company because that person wouldn't feel as a part of the community. So the company should think of the ways to engage that person. Like here in Armenia, like if it's Gyumri location and Liana, I don't know, like Goris, the person can travel. It's still like sensible hours. But of course, if the person made the choice to work in another country, so then of course it's an issue.
Thank you. Can I have another question?
Sure.
Thank you. So if you don't have the data at hand, you don't need to answer, but I'm curious as on to how much the company saves because people work from home and they don't need to spend the money on the offices, electricity, etc., but also whether there was decrease in efficiency of workers and what was the profit or maybe revenue increase or decrease related to specifically working from home or from the office.
I can say that when the pandemic started, I don't know the exact numbers, but we realized that not everyone had a laptop. Some machines were how you call them?
Yes, static machines.
Yeah, static machines, and we were crazily buying laptops for everyone and then dispatching them to all locations of the country. So all paperwork, document work became much more expensive. Can you imagine if you hire someone in I don't know, like 4-hour time zone difference place, and you have to organize all the equipment for that person? So there are savings on the office, but there are also spendings. Also, for example, Zoom calls, they became much more expensive because you had to buy a license. So like, although the office, like we didn't use toilet paper and we didn't pay for electricity, but there were downsides of that. We spent like really huge amount of dollars on organizing local workspaces, workstations at homes. Plus, some people needed special equipment, adjustment, because they had some spine problems, or there were some people with disadvantages, and they had to buy a special chair and reimburse it. So I wouldn't say like it was really high, like lots of savings, except for the travel. We stopped traveling, and it saved lots of money.
Yeah, so basically the only place that companies started to save is on the traveling and office electricity. But on the same time, if you're talking about the Armenia, a lot of big tech companies had quite opposite issues. When the pandemic starts, as Natalya mentioned, a lot of people started to buy laptops. Some of them are just go to the office, grab everything, like table, stairs, everything, like basically literally everything. And they have to spend another round of for the logistics to buy extra computers, extra stuff for the office, not for the employees. And then other thing is, okay, you can save by having a remote workers don't have an office, but the thing is that it may be a situation when you have to pay the extra price, extra salary for the developers, for not giving them to come to the office, for example, because as we mentioned, we all are social animals. We need to communicate, and where you're forcing someone to work separately in solo, it's quite a problematic thing, because as mentioned, if you are out of somewhere and all team are in one place, but you are, for example, in Bali, but everyone is in Armenia working out, so it may come part when you can be considered as one of the first potential layoff employees because you're not part of the community.
I may respectfully disagree.
Oh, okay. Let's go.
And sorry to hit it up, but really it's the matter how community and a company promoting culture.
Sure.
If really I don't know, this is a rule that everyone needs to be at the office and one person remote, yeah, there could be some struggles. But some companies can choose to be hybrid and can choose to have remote employees, and they'll find a ways. Like when we're doing an event, we are inclusive with the remote employees. It's not like we're in a room and we're hanging out. We absolutely have kind of virtual meeting that the people who are not physically there can be there. The other options are team buildings that's organized like quarterly or with some cadence, so still get a chance to remote employees to connect with the rest of the community. And when it's getting to the time, like a cost saving, it's really very specific to the companies. Like big tech, like Facebook, Google, used to have 3 times food benefits during and a lot of travel. So they probably some saving during the pandemic, but instead they provided other benefits for people to have a similar comfort from their home. So it's really hard to generalize it's cost saving or not if we went through this journey, because it's very unique to the company, location, how distributed it is, and how much travel spends are going, because travel spends are really another big money. That's, of course, everything have been closed. But yeah, I really wanted so people have a choice to, I don't know, choose where to work in states. For example, some people commute 1.5 hour one way, and like it's 3-hour commute time daily. For some cases, it's big saving for them, but they can choose to be at the office for a few days in alignment with the other folks to meet them. So it's really adjustment, the way and what's supported rather than one way or another. And yeah, it's more generic view on this topic. Yeah. Thank you.
It's all about company policies.
Yes.
Yeah. Finally, some disagreement here. Thank you, ladies, very much. Thank you for you're absolutely rocking here. And thank you, the audience, for coming to listen us. Thank you.